I am very excited to welcome a guest today. My guest is now. I never say Andrea's last name correctly, so she'll have to correct me. But we have Andrea Chebeleu from A Work of Heart Studio. She is a mixed media artist and an art instructor from Southern California. She has her company is called A Work of Heart Studio. She teaches both online and she has a physical art store. I mean, seriously, it's like everyone's dream, their own art supply store called A Work of Heart Studio, where she does teach in-person classes now. I do believe that she's teaching again. She has a deep knowledge of art supplies and mediums, which always blows me away. And the way she's gained that is by experimenting. She's a big believer in what if, what if I do this, what if I do that? And that always comes across with her students. And if you've ever taken a class with her, you often hear her say, first, not only, because she really believes like you're going to try it once and then you're going to try it again and you just keep experimenting. So that's kind of Andrea's whole attitude. Let's play and experiment with art materials. There you go.
Allie,
what?
You got my name perfect. Like you couldn't pronounce it any better. Yeah, Chebeleu. Yeah, you got it. You got it. Good. But I am in Northern California, not Southern California. So
there you go. Is San Jose Northern California then?
It is, yeah. We're by San Francisco, so it's the northern part.
Oh, I'm thinking of San Diego. That's insane.
Yeah, we're up north.
Yeah, my geography is not very good. She lives the dream because she has her own art supply store, which frankly, I can't even imagine what that's like.
It is quite dreamy, but it's dangerous, man. It is dangerous. I go over there and shop for myself. I go over there and shop for my kids. I send them supplies. Yeah.
Really? I didn't know that.
Do.
Oh, yeah. You must be like the most popular mom ever.
Well, I have two kids who are both, I have three kids, but I have two who love all art supplies. So I'm sending them goodie bags and packages occasionally.
Oh, well, that's very nice.
Yeah.
Well, talk to us about how art came into your life. Is it one of those things that you've always done art, or is this something you discovered later in life? Like, where did it begin?
Oh my goodness, Allie, I have always been creative just as that's who I am. I feel like it's like part of the fabric of my being. I use creativity as a way to pass time as a kid. I was an only child for most of my life. I have triplet brothers, which is a whole other thing, but that was in this. I know I didn't mean to go down that path. No, it's fine. But I was an only child until I was 2 years before I had my own kids. So, like I was already married and out of the house and all of that.
Oh, okay.
So they're my mom's. Yeah. So I have half brothers who are triplets. Oh. So that's one of those things, like people don't know that about me. Anyway,
those 5 facts you don't know about me.
5 facts you don't. Now you do. Yeah. So back to the creativity, I would use creativity, like making things with my hands as a way that was my companion, right? That was my way to pass time. That was my way to keep myself occupied. We lived in Mexico from when I was 4 until when I was 8. And so we didn't have a lot. There was no technology back then. I'm 52. So like there was no, like,
into what?
Yeah. Into what? Yeah. So my earliest memories were making doll houses out of cardboard boxes and little scraps of fabric for the curtains and, making little furniture and cutting pieces and gluing them together. And
so that sounds familiar.
Constructing, right? And my middle child is actually an interior architect. So I love that it kind of came full circle around. And I have one who designs interiors and so it's kind of, and furniture, actually, that one is working on an island outside of Seattle building furniture right now. So it's kind of cool to see that like apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
That is very cool.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Oh, what a nice story. There's another fun fact I didn't know about you.
Fun fact. Yeah. So always I've been creative, been fascinated with how things work. I've always liked to make things with my hands. I got into mixed media through scrapbooking. I
Mm-hmm.
started scrapbooking when my firstborn, 1995 is when he was born. And so
Mm,
full on into scrapbooking, um, was doing scrapbooks for other people as part of my business. I, was commissioned to do scrapbooks for other people for a
mm.
period of time. And that's really how my business grew in the beginning, was that the volume of work that I was doing for other people, for my clients, was so much that I grew out of my home studio. So
Huh.
that's how the commercial space came to be, is that I needed more space
Oh, I
to do,
see.
physically needed more space to do the projects that I was doing for my clients. So
Huh.
it was an interesting way to evolve this mixed media
Yeah,
business that I have
journey.
now. Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
you're the second person in, I don't know, we had Rochelle on, Rochelle Easton, and she now makes books and teaches writing and eco-dime, but she started, one of her evolutions was also as a professional scrapbooker.
Mhm.
Who knew that even
Who knew?
existed?
Oh my goodness. Yes, it
Wow.
existed, and yeah, I still, to this day, that client, my first initial client, will still call me to do special projects, and
Oh,
I outsource them. I have help now, and I have people that I've trained, and so I outsource a lot of the projects, but I'm still in
wow.
contact with that first
Really?
client. Yeah.
Still. But
Mhm.
that was how you got introduced to mixed media.
Well, that is what afforded me the ability to have the space
Mm.
to bring in teachers and have, accumulate the supplies that, that my one little 12 by 12 art room in my house could not hold, because
Right.
we
Yeah.
love the supplies. And having the business
Mm.
sort of took off all of the boundaries on what I could collect, because, it's a business expense.
Yeah. Oh, well, of course. Yeah. I have many business expenses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the justification of being able to kind of buy and try things because I needed to, was, like,
Yeah.
it was a business expense. I needed to do that for my business. And you know what, it's been great, because it's given me access to lots of different things, and the ability to, again, when I have the space, I
Mm.
can have teachers come in. That's how I learn a lot of things. I'm like, oh my goodness, one of the first mixed media, or one of the first teachers that I had come in, was Cheryl Darrow of 10-Second Studio, which I don't think
Yeah.
that, do you
I
know her?
remember 10 second. I
Yeah.
don't know, but I remember 10-second studio. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Cheryl came in and taught metal embossing,
Mm-hmm.
but also taught precious metal clay. And then I'm fascinated. I'm like, I can use my rubber stamps on metal clay, and I can make fine silver jewelry with my, are you kidding me?
Oh
The
my God.
fact that I could use things that I was using making cards in mixed media, things that I was using in scrapbooks, in handmade books,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Somebody walked into my studio. This is an art journaling magazine, but somebody walked into my studio with a cloth paper scissors magazine.
Mm-hmm.
My
Yeah.
mind was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah. Oh, I was the
What?
same way with Somerset Studio. I remember getting my
Yeah,
first copy of that and thinking, other people like this, the same stuff I do. They collect
right.
old stuff like I do. Yeah.
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 It was
Oh,
insane. So
yeah.
that's a journey that has taken place over. I
Yeah.
moved into my first studio. Well, I built the business. My middle child was born in 1998. And
Mm,
when Hannah was 9 months old, A Work of Heart was born.
right.
So 1998 till
Mm.
now, that's 23 years,
Wow. So
right?
have you been
So
in the
it's,
same space or no, you've moved?
no, no, I've moved. I'm in the fourth iteration of where that physical space has been. I've been in a commercial space for eight 18 plus
Yeah.
years. I
Yeah.
always lose track.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah.
The time just
Numbers not
races.
my numbers are not my greatest.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Like,
Art
I can
supplies
tell
are
you what matte medium does, and what gel medium, and what the difference is, and gesso, and
yeah,
all
but
that
not
kind of
what day of
stuff,
the week
but
it is.
no, not so much.
Well, let's talk about that though, because first of all, your knowledge of art supplies is phenomenal, I have to tell you. But you're a very busy lady. You're running a physical store, you're running an online, um, you sell products online, you teach online, you're teaching in person and you have guest artists and you have a very busy life. How do you stay creative yourself? Because I know for me as a business owner, that's a very fine balance. So, how do you manage that to kind of keep
It
keep
is,
it
Allie,
going?
and I'll tell you what, my natural inclination is to put that the fun stuff, because I find being creative fun.
Hmm.
It is when I've got all of these things on my to-do list. I need to do the ordering, and I need to do the marketing, and I need to do the taxes, and I need to da 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 da, da, right? All of those things.
Yeah.
It is natural for me, the way my brain works, to let's hit all the important things first. Notice
Yeah.
how I said important things. But you
Yeah.
know what? My soul just gets sucked dry if I don't have paint on my hands and
Hmm.
I'm not doing something that fills me up, like,
Right. Yeah.
some color and pattern and, just for no
Yeah.
other purpose. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
filling a deadline or, for
Yeah.
no other purpose than to just fill my soul.
Yeah. Joy.
And so what I've recognized is that that is the most important part, so that I'm full and present and able to do the rest,
Yeah. Yeah.
fully fueled, if you will.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it's true because I feel like, as women as well, we always want to be like helping and serving other people. So if you have customers and you want to do the best for them, you want to teach and you want to deliver orders on time and you want to do all of the things because you really want to serve people and do the best you can. But I think, and then that's in many areas of life, not just
right,
in a creative business, in many areas. But if
right,
you neglect your own self, whether that's a creative practice or any kind of self-care, then I think you run out of fuel. So
right.
how do you
So,
do it then?
right. So mine is this. It comes down to there's a concept by James Clear, I
Yep.
believe. Well,
Yeah,
hopefully I
James
won't
Clear.
misquote
Yep.
that. James Clear, called habit stacking.
Oh,
Habit stacking is the fact that if you're already doing something at one period of time, like brushing your teeth, I brush my teeth every day. Maybe I want to, learn some poetry. I can have the poetry taped on my mirror. And as I'm brushing my teeth, I'm reading the poetry. That's habit stacking,
yep.
right? Or if
Okay.
I want to practice more mindful, deep breathing, and I already fill my water bottle up, 6 times a day, then as I'm standing at the refrigerator filling up my water bottle,
Mm,
I'm practicing my deep breathing. That's habit stacking. Well, I have a habit
yep.
every day of attending a meeting,
Mm,
a recovery meeting. I'll just
mhm.
put that out there
Sure.
for
Yeah.
whoever I connect to in that realm, friend of
Sure.
Bill W.
Yeah.
So I am in a meeting every morning at 7:30, and
Ah,
I'm listening and I'm engaged in that meeting already. So that's already a habit that I have established.
right.
So when I'm in that meeting
Yeah.
on Zoom, this has made it really helpful because it's on Zoom.
Yeah.
I'm
I
able
bet.
to, all of my little art supplies are right here, and I'm able to paint and listen and participate and unmute myself and talk, but I'm able to
Yeah.
add a little color to some paper, put some doodles. I've got my daily creative practice journal,
Right.
right here. I can turn to the page and jot down some notes or do some doodles on a page. Or if this month I want to practice drawing, I can draw my teacup, right? And
Yeah.
write, I love this maple ginger tea, or, whatever it is, just something little. But that's a habit that I can stack with something that I'm already doing. If I'm
Right.
already sitting on the couch at night watching TV with my husband, maybe that's a habit that I have. Why could I not then take a pencil and a little notebook in there and practice sketching the faces of the people that are on the TV, if that's something that I want to build
Yeah.
the ability to do, right?
That's so interesting. So that's from his book Atomic Habits, right? James
Yes.
Clear.
Mhm.
Yeah,
James
I've read
Clear.
that, and that's now I remember you saying that. It's habit
Mhm.
stack, and yeah, you attach it to something you already do, like your morning coffee or
Exactly.
brushing your teeth, or I don't know what. I mean, we do lots of things every
We
day
do lots of
without
things
even thinking about
naturally. Exactly, exactly, and so when there's something that I'm like, "Oh, I really want to have a daily art practice. I wanna have a daily creative practice." Now, another thing is, my mind used to be, "Oh, but I don't have an extra hour to give to something like that." I'm like,
an
I
hour.
don't need an extra hour. I
Yeah,
can do, now I am sitting in a meeting for an hour, but
yeah,
I can do a whole lot in 15 minutes. It's amazing what I can do in 15 minutes. I
Yeah.
have a whole my Watch Learn Play membership that we can talk about later, but
Yeah.
is all around what you can accomplish in 15 minutes. Like you can
Yeah.
slap some paint down and make some marks and make a really cute little postcard to send to a friend
In 15
in
minutes.
15 minutes. Yeah.
It's interesting. The our Bookmaker Collective, colleagues, Tiff, Kristen, and Dee Dee, they did I think 5 minute day challenge or something. Make art for 5 minutes every single day, and
Yeah.
that was in the same vein. You've got five
Yeah.
minutes. I
Yeah.
mean, 15 is actually better because by the time you kind of think about what you want to do, but
Yeah.
talk to me, because we have talked about this before, but I know you also do morning pages, and I'm
Oh, I
always so
do.
impressed when people do morning pages because I've tried and I've done it periodically over the years, but I've never been able to keep that habit. I'm always so impressed when people can keep up. Julia Cameron, right, is the one who started.
Julia Cameron, The Artist's Way, really the regular active morning pages has completely changed my life, Allie. And
Really?
I will say I'm going to be completely honest and transparent and say I am not 100% spot on
Okay.
365 days of the year, right? I've had a really hard time getting back on track since I was on vacation because I kind of got off.
You took a long vacation.
I did. I took a long vacation at the end of August, beginning of September, and it's been really hard to get back into the routine. But I'll tell you, it's a lot easier to keep a routine than it is to get back into momentum of having a routine. But let me tell you, morning pages for me is that just clearing away whatever debris and clutter is lingering from the day before, and it's setting the stage
Yeah.
for today. For me, it's a spiritual thing too. It's a connection to divine source, to God, call him God, but other people, whatever practice you have, it's connection to divine source.
Mm.
It is this intentional, I'm here now,
Mm.
the days ahead of me.
Yeah.
And oftentimes it's just a pouring out on paper, 3 pages. I have it, as a matter of fact, I was doing it before,
Oh,
3 pages of
yeah.
brain dump.
Brain dump. Yeah.
Because you were mentioning before that I'm a busy person. I have a lot of balls up in the air. I oftentimes think I can visualize my brain as like, imagine a ream of paper on
Yeah.
a very windy day, walk outside and toss that ream of paper up in the air.
Mm-hmm.
That's what my brain feels like most days.
Mm-hmm.
Morning pages is the act of taking all of those papers
Mm-hmm.
and filing them into all of their respective
Mm.
uh,
Places.
places. And so then throughout the day, I can go, oh, there's this that I need to do. Okay, well, I know that I've already, taken care of that. I've taken the trash out, right? All
Yeah.
the things that I need to release,
Yeah.
they're gone. The things that I need to address are in their place. The things that I need to save for later are in their place. It's
Yeah.
just this organizing way. I love morning pages. I could talk for hours
I know
on
you could.
like the best things in my life have come from morning pages because it takes this, like I said, that ream of paper that's swirling around and makes it concrete for me. If there's something
Right.
that I want to do, I want to
Mm-hmm.
have a daily creative practice, and I write that in my morning pages, and I keep writing that, and I keep writing that, and I keep writing that. You know what? Pretty soon, as I'm writing that down, I'm able to see in black and white, well, what's one thing that I could do to change that, right? I'm like sort of
Mm.
prompting myself through, well, what's one action item I could do? What's something else that I do every day? Maybe I could, you
Yeah.
know, it's like this wisdom, and I believe it's divine wisdom, but whatever wisdom, this inner wisdom that
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
have this connection point, and that's where it's coming. For me, morning pages is this connection to this wisdom,
Mm.
and I'm seeing it. I'm a very visual person. As an artist, I'm visual.
Yeah.
I think we all are to some degree. I'm seeing it
Mm.
in black and white. No
Yeah.
longer is it just these thoughts that are sort of spinning around, and I'm like, oh man, yeah, someday I want to do that. But it is concrete. It's right here.
Mm. Wow.
And there's always a margin on my pages.
Yeah.
This right here.
Yeah.
So all of those, oh, don't forget to send that email because those things
Oh,
come up,
those
right?
where you put those
Don't
too.
forget to
Oh,
send that check. So and so needs to be paid. oh, don't forget to order such and such. That's where I write it, because I don't have to ever go back to morning pages and read them again. That's not necessarily the point.
That's not
Although
the
in
point.
Julia Cameron's work, she does at one point in time in the 12 weeks have you go back and read and see some patterns.
Yeah.
But that margin is where I go back and I transcribe that into my
To-do list.
or whatever, just to make sure I don't forget things.
That's a smart idea. I never thought of that. I don't think my book has a margin, but like I said, I don't do it regularly, but when I do.
Oh, I'll tell you, I've been doing it long enough that I have a favorite book.
Yeah.
That let's see if I can get it in camera. The Mead Cambridge.
Oh,
yeah. Notice this.
Yep. Spiral
Top. I don't like my hand to be caught on either end. It's very touchy-feely. Like there's a certain
interesting.
I don't want my hand to be hit in the margin. It slows me down. I don't know. There's something about it's like the typewriter, when you have to go zing,
go back and forth. Yeah.
Right? When my hand stops at one side, I don't know. Like I just want it to be able to flow back and forth without stopping.
Like your thoughts, which is
exactly. And then my favorite pen, the Pilot.
Oh yeah,
the Pilot G2.
Mm-hmm.
The Pilot G2 1.0, because I like a big, fat, juicy pen. So.
That's too funny.
Yeah.
But so, that brings me on to an interesting, I think interesting. So these morning pages are not your art journal. So.
Oh, no.
So what are you doing in your art journal? That's your daily creative practice. So can you talk to me?
Well, you know what I mean? The thing is, when you think about the morning pages, it is my first creative act of the day. I'm creating something from nothing.
Yeah.
I'm creating something from electrical currents, which are thoughts. I am making black and white marks on paper. Mm-hmm. That is a creative act. So if nothing else, if I have not picked up a pen and doodled a mark or gotten my hands painty as I love to do, if I have not done that, if I've done my morning pages, I have created something today. And it's like those things where, I don't know, way back when the Fly Lady was really popular, it was like, right?
Oh yeah, I remember.
If you start with this one thing, or the concept of when you make your bed, that's, your first success of the day. And then this more successes happen because of that first success. Well, if I do my morning pages, that first creative act is that first successful creative act of the day, I'm more likely to pick up a tube of paint and smudge it on, this. My daily creative practice journal is always right here beside me. And it's the vessel, the size that it is so non-overwhelming, if you will.
So what size is it?
It is roughly, okay, here's an open, right in front of my face. So here's like one page.
Yeah.
Here's one page, right? Yep. I'm getting it centered up. There you go.
Yeah.
This is actually between months. And so you're not seeing the actual month spread there, but it is about the pages range because they're made from file folders, but it is 7.5 tall by about 4.5 wide when it's closed.
Yeah. I was going to say it looks about 5 by 7.
It's about 5 by 7.
Yeah. Nice.
So then you're imagining a day.
Yeah.
One day is about, it's about that size.
Like a business card size.
It's smaller than a business card. So a little, because if you're trying to fit, 7 days across 2 5 by 7s, do the math, it's.
No, but anyway, yeah.
You don't have to do the math. I actually have stencils for you that you can.
Well, why don't we talk about this? Because one of the first things I think when I only met you at the end of last year, we first met, and one of the first, and because Wendy Solganic, I never said the name right either, she introduced us, and one of the first things she said to me was, "Oh, Andrea is the person who taught me how to live in my journal." And I was like, "Oh, well, that's interesting, but I actually don't know what that means." But it sounded so intriguing. I was like, "Live in your journal? Like, what does that mean?" And it's literally been with me for like over a year now. So can you talk a little bit about that? What does that even mean? And why would we do it?
Oh, I love that question so much, Allie. That just fills my heart. So I love to make books. I love to make books.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Oh, shoot, we're frozen. Okay.
store-bought books. But I do love filling my books. And so living in my journal is a way of putting myself into my journal every day, like adding little bits and pieces. And so when I created the daily creative practice journal, it was a way for me to make something that was small and compact and portable that could come with me wherever I was. I'm not lugging big, chunky things around or worried about that. But the way that I have it structured is that each month I'm looking for one that has just a singular month that's not bound because I've already bound last year's. Usually, the way that they work is that you are working in these monthly signatures. So you have, this one's not completed, but you have like a month that you're working in at a time. So this is all you're
Oh,
living in, right?
that's
So
1 month.
let's just say this is 1 month. So
Mm.
January, you're filling this up, and that feels doable to me,
Yeah,
right?
me too. Yeah.
It's not a huge journal. It's not this
Yeah.
stack, right? It's
Yeah.
just one. It's just one. It's just a little piece. And if you break it down even further, this is all I'm looking at this week.
That's a whole week. Oh, that's
This is a
doable.
whole week. This is
I
a
can do
whole
that.
week. And so now divide this up into 7 sections. And that's all you're doing for the day. It's just a little section.
Oh,
Just a little
that's.
section.
I could do
And so
that.
living, right?
Yeah.
Living in your journal can mean maybe I'm just making bullet points of, hey, I went here and I did this and I had coffee with my girlfriends. Because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, at the end of the year, I
Yeah.
love going back and looking at little, like maybe a little sketch of that coffee cup and the table where I was sitting with my girlfriend at Pete's, where we were in lockdown for so long. And finally the mandate was lifted and we could get out into the open air and have coffee together. And I want to document that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that goes in my daily creative practice journal because on that day I can flip back and I'm like, oh, that was so great, right? That's a way of living in my journal. It brings my life into my journal.
Yeah.
Maybe I grabbed a business card for the coffee shop that we were at, taped that onto the side because this journal it's not super precious. Like I said, it's made from file folders. It's not, like super expensive, whatever. So
Yeah.
I tuck notes in there. I tuck postcards. I tuck business cards. If I'm, taking a girlfriend's trip away, you would think that I go out with girlfriends all the time. I love to. I wish I did more, but those are I'm looking at a picture of my girlfriend who got married on the page that this is opened to with a picture of her on there. But tucking pictures in there and
Yeah.
but business cards for places that I went or postcards or whatever, they can be tipped in, taped in, flipped up, tucked in. The vessel itself makes it very easy to
Yeah.
add the flotsam of your life, right? The
Oh, there's always
debris,
plenty. Yeah.
right?
But it's manageable because I don't know,
It's
I get so
manageable.
overwhelmed. Like, say it's, an 8.5 by 11 book, and it's just like it's just overwhelming. That size
Yeah.
page, and where do I start, and what am I going to talk about, and what's my grand idea? No, it's just what happened today. It's a little sugar packet that you had today.
Exactly, the sugar packet.
Yeah, just
Draw, and if you want to draw your day, you can. If you don't, if you want to just bullet your day, I know Wendy uses it a lot of times for just bulleting what's, it's like she uses it like a planner, which is fantastic. I have a 8.5 by 11 ring, like those disc bound things for my planner, but this is more
big planner for every day.
Exactly. But this is more like sometimes I also got one of those sprocket printers. And so sometimes I'm like, I just want to print a picture for every day. That was fun.
Which one did you get? I have to.
I got this one, just the little sprocket.
Sprocket, it's called.
HP.
Oh, I really would like one of those because it's like a label maker, right? You don't need ink. It's like I forget how.
Yeah, it's zero ink sprocket. And then sometimes, like I was mentioning, I was on that trip. Sometimes it's more like, it's not like old scrapbooks, but sometimes it's more like I print out pictures from my trip because that's what was going on for me then.
Yeah.
Or I'll do drawings of the trip or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. Oh wow. Oh, I have to tell you, I am very excited about. So, we're part of the Bookmaker Collective.
Yeah.
And this actually is the next class, right? So it's December and it's our last class together, which is kind of sad. But this is actually the book that we'll be making together, and I am like beyond excited because I really want to try this method to see if this will stick for me. You know what I mean? I can see putting washi tape in there or a little Zentangle, or I could do that. So can you just explain a little bit about how the class is going to work?
The first night, so it meets over a Saturday night and a Sunday.
Yep.
And the first night, what we're going to do is I give you a little bit of pre-work to do. So if you join the class, you'll get a little access to the video of how to prep your folders beforehand, just so that you come in with them gessoed already.
Oh, good idea.
So I'm going to take you through prepping the folders on Saturday night. So you get them broken up into your 12 months.
Okay.
And then we'll start with getting some paint on the outside covers, because I want you to make it yours, right? What makes you happy. Yeah. And then we're going to stitch them. It's very repetitive, right? You're doing 12 of these. It's very repetitive. You're going to get it, yeah. 12 plus a front and back cover. And then I will take you through how I get, and in the classroom, there will be lots of other ideas too, of ways to break out the weeks. Not everybody wants to use this as a break out the days of the weeks. I could look at this and say, I'm going to do a collage every week. I'm going to do a little mini vision board this week, and I'm going to pull magazine imagery. And every week I'm going to do a little mini vision board of what I want for the week.
That's a good idea.
Right?
Yeah.
There's so many different ways you could use the spread for the week. It could be just an art journal page every week. How fabulous would that be? Just one.
Yeah.
And the size, when it's finished, is 7.5 by 10.
Yeah.
Roughly.
That's doable.
It's not huge.
No.
Right? And then you could date it the week of.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. And then that's it. You don't have to use it as it. So I don't want to emphasize too heavily in the course, like, here's how you block out 7 days.
Gotcha.
Although that's how I use it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say that that's how everybody has to use it. It's that's one of the ways you can use it. I'm excited to see how different people use it and how, the idea is, that's what's exciting about getting this vessel, or this container, I call it a container, in so many different people's hands, is because I get more ideas on how to use it. And like you were mentioning before, living in your journal is something that's coming after this. I have a course that's coming up for 2022 that is all about, it's all about, then it's supporting people who have built this journal, who want to live in this journal and continue to get ideas and be inspired and be together. And because that's the thing, like, I build something and then it can go on my shelf and I forget about it. But if I'm part of a community, if I'm involved with other people who are also living in a similar vessel, a container, and I get to see how they're turning their 7.5 by 10 spread, what they're doing this week, then I'm like, ooh, I want to try that.
Can you imagine the ideas that are going to be generated?
I know.
Because that's the joy of teaching. You teach one or two ways to do it, and then all the people doing it come up with their ideas. And
oh my goodness.
Like,
I get I am in awe of what comes out of, like, I feel like I'm just the tiny catalyst. I'm like, okay, here's an idea, take it. And then I'm like, sit back and I'm like, okay, let me see what you got.
Yeah.
So
can
exciting.
You imagine us all next year? We're all going to come together. We've made our journal, and then for the whole year, every month we get together for a couple hours and we're sharing how we are living in our journals. It's going to be unbelievable.
Unreal. I'm so excited.
Yeah, I am too. All right. I'm ready for 2022. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
I know Mickey. Oh yeah, Mickey has, of course. Mickey's just popped some links in the chat for us. Thanks, Mickey. She's so good.
Thank you, Mickey.
She knows what I'm thinking before I even have to say it. So, but yes, folks. In the description for this interview, there are the links to the Bookmaker Collective class and obviously Andrea's website and all her social media links, and Mickey's also dropping them into the comments too. So we have all the juicy Jen on how to sign up for everything for Andrea. So can we talk a little bit about, so I'm going to change tax just slightly because this is just something I'm really interested in, but it's about the Bookmaker Collective. One of the things I've discovered this year is like the joy of having the kits for the Bookmaker Collective. And this is not some huge sales pitch. This honestly, folks, first of all, Andrea is a genius at creating these cute little kits for all of our classes, not just hers, but all the classes. She created these cute kits. And for several of the classes, I've been out of town, and I will be for the last class. And all I've taken with me is this one little box of supplies. And it's been totally eye-opening to me, just only working with limited supplies. So I don't know if you know, because you do have a whole store full of supplies at your fingertips, do you ever like intentionally, restrict like either space or?
Okay, let's talk about this.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
This was honestly, Allie, when I had to shift from teaching in person and having access to my studio with 12 to 15 to 18 of everything, every pen, every tube of paint, every bottle of gesso, everything. When I had to shift from that into assuming that everybody had everything at home, that was a huge
Yeah.
So the whole mental shift of how to build a kit to make it completely contained was, again, it really tapped into that like a creative side. Honestly, it was like, how do I take this huge bottle and make a smaller portion of it? And this teacher wants you to use some sort of a color spray, but I need to keep the cost of the kit at such that people can afford to just try something and not have to buy the huge whatever. What if they don't like it? So anyway, it's been a really fun challenge, and I'm in the midst of shipping my kits right now. And at the beginning you were like, oh, I'm like, no, I love it so much. It's so exciting. It's like this,
it's like
puzzle.
Christmas.
It's like this puzzle that I'm putting together. And so, yeah, it's been a really fun challenge for me to say, if I had nothing else, and usually, excuse me, the only other thing that you might need is a dryer to dry things faster if we're working with wet mediums, and a cup of water, right? A cup of water.
Pair of scissors or something.
Pair of scissors. Yeah, I'm not shipping a lot of scissors. And once you've got your bone folder and all, and those sorts of things, those are sort of add-ons for people who are just getting started, but sort of the bones of kits are just like, these are the bare minimums of what you need to do this project with. It's been a fun challenge. I really enjoyed it way more than I thought, because in the beginning I was very resistant to it. I'm like, I don't know if I want. I was hesitant. Let's just say, maybe not resistant, but I was hesitant because I just did, like that was a big task. But I also find that, like you said, limited supplies. If I were in my studio and I had 15 colors of spray inks to pick from,
it's paralyzing.
I'm like, but what if I like this color combo better than this one? What if I don't know, but if I'm given red and yellow, then I'm using red and yellow, and that's gonna,
it's liberating. It really is. Because it takes, I sometimes think less choice is better. It makes you more creative, and also it stops the second guessing. But what if that doesn't work? Well, it doesn't matter. Just use what you've got and make it work.
And that's where my first not only comes into play. This is oftentimes when we're creating something in a class situation, we can let go of these expectations of it being any perfect thing. It is a lesson. It is a class. We are learning. It doesn't have to be the one and only. It's not one and only. It's first not only.
First not only.
It's not one and only. It's first not only.
Yeah.
And so you're trying it, you're learning, you're like, oh, well, I didn't like those colors. So next time I will try these. And it's that as we're doing something and we're trying something, and especially if we've got limited supplies on hand, and maybe we're just using browns and grays and neutrals, we discover, I love that. I'm going to do that more. After Dee Dee's class, I was on a coffee and black and neutral tear for a while. I'm like, I even made, what did I make? I made this. This is so not Andrea colors, right? You see my colors behind me, but I made, right? It's just browns and grays and black and white. And I'm like, I kind of dig that. It's not, that book's not done yet, but that's the start of it. And I'm like,
makes you try things you wouldn't normally have tried.
It does. It stretches you creatively. And, in the Zentangle world, they say the elegance of limitations. There is an elegance of just limiting your supplies, and especially in colors, right? There is no, you can see behind me, there's no color I don't like except purple. Purple's not my favorite.
I don't like purple either. Yeah.
Sorry, purple lovers.
Yeah, I know.
We love you. We love you, just not purple. But where was I going with that? When you're limited in those, it really gives you the creativity to mix and see, like, how far can I push this?
Yes.
How many variations can I get with just these 2 or 3 colors? It's shocking. It's amazing how many variations you can get. But if I had 7 colors, now I say that, and the kits that I'm sending out have 10 colors in them, but,
of course, right.
But I'm going to show you how to do lots of different things with those 10 colors because they're fabulous.
Oh, I can't wait to go. But honestly, it's like Christmas because everything arrives in like little miniature things of paint and little miniature things of gessos. Honestly, it's like receiving a gift in the mail. I can't wait. And Andrew was saying to me, but you must have all those things, all those paints and those gessos. And I do, but I still want the kit because I want like the mini tubes of everything. So, well, and talking of limits, hold on. I just had a question. We've had a question come up. I just want to answer it. People have asked, are the Bookmaker Collective classes recorded for those who can't attend?
They are absolutely recorded, and they go into, mine goes into a teachable classroom. The teachable classroom's already set up with the pre-work that I mentioned before, and a flip through of this year's journal so you can kind of see where we're going with it. And all of the recordings will go in there, and there is no expiration on that, so you won't lose access to them. So yes, they are recorded, and they'll all be accessed there.
Yes. And Diana asks, the kits are separate. Yes, they are.
The kits are separate.
And if you have all the supplies, it's basic. I had there was some misunderstanding before of somebody who signed up and said, well, I thought I could do this with stuff that I had, and you can. Legal size manila folders, gesso, and book binding supplies, which, if you guys are in Allie, you're here, you've got most of it. Yeah. Legal size manila folders, gesso, and some paint, and some color.
Some color. If you want, maybe you don't. Maybe you want to do yours with neutrals. You're absolutely fine to do that. Yeah.
And so, talk of limitations, can we just circle back? I think we talked about this right at the beginning. Limitations of time. This idea of 15 minutes. Can you talk to me about your membership, where it's just talk to me about that, because I don't know the details, I have to say. So I know.
Yeah. So watch, learn, play. Watch, learn, play is something that I created out of this fact that every morning as I'm sitting here in my meeting, and I'm recording my daily practice. It's not always in my daily creative practice journal. It's oftentimes in, it's the leftovers from the night before, or it's working on making a little collage on a flashcard, or it's, working in my little mini junk journals or whatever. I'm recording it because I've got the equipment to do so, because I love watching people's fast forward videos. I love that.
Oh, me too.
I love watching it go from point A to point B in a short period of time.
Yep.
love that. And
It's like
when I
art
right?
porn.
I love it. And
Yeah.
so when I recognized how much I loved it and I realized how much I was not doing it, how I wasn't producing that kind of content, I'm like, well, that's stupid. If I love it so much, why don't I produce that kind of content? So I
Yeah.
started doing that. And then I ended up with this quite a catalog of like almost a year's worth of these little mini videos. Well, I had the original files still on my computer, and I'm like, there's kind of a school there. There's kind of a membership there that I could
Yeah.
take these little videos, and
Yeah.
their regular length is only about 15 to 20 minutes,
Yeah.
and I could tell you why I'm making the choices that I'm making, what colors I'm choosing, because those are the questions that I would get often. What kind of pen is that? What kind of brush is that? What
Oh,
colors are
yes.
you using? What why are you doing that? Which I'm happy to answer in my Instagram feed. So if you follow me on Instagram, that's where a lot of
Yeah.
most of the lessons start, as one
Mhm.
of those little fast forward videos.
Yeah.
Um, in my Watch, Learn, Play membership, they're exploded out. They're
Oh,
elongated to their original form. And
God.
I'm voiceover telling you, so I'm starting my page like this. This
Yep.
is why I'm doing it.
Yep.
I'm thinking about
Yeah.
this. Here,
Mhm.
composition, the focus is here. I'm using this material.
Mm.
This is the supply that I'm using. This is the brush that I'm using.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
and this is
That's
why I'm
helpful.
using it.
Yeah.
Right. Man, when I just have 15 minutes and I want a little pick me up of something creative to do and I don't have a ton of time,
Yeah.
this is what I go for, because I know how I consume information. That's what I wanted to create, was something that could be
Yeah.
consumed in short bursts of time. Like, I don't have an hour or 2 hours to devote something. But as I'm sitting here drinking my cup of tea, if I just want to watch something all the way through and then try something really quick,
Yeah. And I love the
that's
idea that we're inside your head because I mean, I'm on YouTube and Instagram all the time. I mean, of course, because it's work. But you watch a reel, you watch someone do something, and then, but you don't know why they chose that, or
right.
gosh, I'd really love to know what that color is, or
Hmm.
oh, why did she make that choice, or why did she put this on first and then this on top rather than the other
Right.
way around? And I mean, you
Right.
can ask on Instagram for sure, and people will get back to you, but be quite nice just to have that explanation. So,
Exactly. Exactly. So
yeah,
that's what the membership, that's what Watch, Learn, Play is.
yeah,
The membership is. Yeah.
nice. Oh, I like it. Very good. We could like chat for hours. What are your
I know.
plans for 2022? What are you like looking forward to in 2022?
So 2022, we already talked about it a little bit, is the living in your journal. So it's an extension
Oh,
of the daily
right.
creative practice journal. Every month, I will have a new 2 hour live class. And I've invited some very special guests to participate. And shall we let them know
You can
that
let.
one of those very special guests is our very own Allie?
I could, yes, could be, maybe,
Yes,
right? Yes.
it is Allie.
Yeah.
Um, and
Mhm.
so we've got several special guests, and then alternating months it will be just me.
Mm,
But there will be special things that will be sent to you that you don't have to buy extra. So with Bookmaker Collective, there were kits that you had to
mhm,
purchase, but with Living in Your Journal, there will actually be happy mail that's sent to you every month.
mhm.
Could
Nice.
be a custom designed stencil. Um,
Who knows?
could be some collage sheets, could be some just fun stuff.
Right.
But so there will be some happy mail components. There will be some.
Mm,
So I'm excited about that, because
that sounds
it's
fun.
it's this community that I love building community, and
Mhm.
we've made the journal.
Yep.
Now let's live in
Let's
it
live it.
together.
Let's live in it together. Oh,
Yeah,
I love it.
yeah.
What else do you have planned for 2022? Are you offering you're back to offering some in-person classes, right?
I have I will yes, I definitely have some in-person classes. I have guest teachers coming in. I have Seth Apter scheduled for October of 2022. Um,
Ooh, that's exciting.
that's it. That's yeah, end of next year. And then yeah, so I'll be doing some more guest teachers. I'll be doing some more in person for myself, but I'm definitely still continuing my
Mm,
online classes. I
yeah.
do an under the influence art journaling
Oh, yeah. Can we talk
series.
about that very quickly? Because that I think is fascinating.
Yeah, absolutely. So what I do is, I don't know how, maybe we're all alike in this, maybe not, but the way I love to spend my time if I'm sitting on the couch is scrolling through Instagram. I'm like, oh, that's so cool. Oh, I love how she did that. Oh, I love how he did that. That's so, oh my goodness, that's so
Yeah.
cool.
Save,
Well,
save, save.
save, right? Tag save. But then I never really get back to it. Or used to be that I would collect art books written by artists and
Mm-hmm.
right, and flip through, oh, that's so pretty. I want to try that someday. Never would. Well, like I said, I love creating community. And so when I was in person, we would have what's called well, it was like a book club where we would actually work through a book, an artist's book,
Yeah.
and we would actually do the exercises in the book.
Ah, interesting.
So
So,
we would take 8 weeks in like Danielle Donaldson's creative watercolor book, right?
I
Right?
get it.
The art
Yeah.
of creative watercolor. And
Yeah.
so we would do a lesson per week straight out of the book.
Right. That makes
Well,
sense.
enter COVID. We're
Yeah.
not necessarily doing books anymore, but we shifted over to featuring artists in the Under the Influence series. I changed the name to Under the Influence because what we're doing is we're art journaling,
Mm,
looking at the art of an artist who shares. I usually pick very prolific artists on Instagram,
yeah.
and we feature their artwork. We feature them as an artist that week.
Right.
Oftentimes they come on with us and I get to
Mm,
interview them, and we
yeah.
get to chat with them, and I take the participants on a tour of their Instagram, of this artist's Instagram feed, and say, so what I'm noticing is her use of color, her use of
Yeah.
composition, look at the scale of this, look at that. And so I'm sort of, pointing out the things that I'm noticing. And
Yeah.
then I share my camera and I walk through, I'm creating this art journal page under the influence of. So imagine walking into a
Mm,
grand chef's restaurant, right? You were sitting down and having a delicious meal by this chef. And now we're going back to our own kitchens
mm-hmm.
and we're making a meal and we're thinking, well, they use this ingredient and they use this ingredient and they use this ingredient. I'm going to put my
Yeah.
own meal together using these ingredients. And so that's what we're
Right.
doing. We're borrowing from the pantries of
Yeah.
these artists and using these ingredients and making our own artwork in our own journals. But we're
Mm.
just we're borrowing ingredients and trying them out and seeing how they work in our own
Oh.
practice.
So say someone, uses a certain type of mark making. You're like, oh, maybe
Mhm.
I'll try that type of mark making. Or someone
Right, but
uses
with
this type of
colors that you
imagery.
use.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like we had Jana Clinard Harris on the other day, and if you know Jana, she
Mm-mm.
uses a lot of birds in her artwork, and so
Right.
it was fabulous because we all did collage, and not everybody used birds in their collage, but
Mm.
just that element, that collage element,
Right.
is what we took from Jana's artwork, and then we were able to chat with her and ask her, so how do you get your
Mm.
collage down. Oftentimes sometimes the artist is not on with us, and because of my knowledge of materials, I can sort of break it down and say this is what I think they did, and I can take you through
Yeah.
um you know
Yeah.
but that's
Interesting.
Under the Influence, and it's been so fun, especially with
Mm.
the ability to have the artists come on with us. That has been something completely new from before COVID times, where we
Yeah.
didn't
Yeah.
have access to
Yeah.
the original artists like we do
Yeah.
now. So that's been really
Well,
fun.
I know there's been a lot. I mean, it's been terrible. There's been a lot of loss over the past 18 months and a lot of terrible things. But I feel like in the art world, we've really gained. I think this, the creative community has really come together and innovated and just created all new things that allow us to connect. And I think that's a really good example of it, as well as, the Bookmaker Collective. So,
Absolutely. Yes. It has been a tragedy for so many, and
mm,
not to minimize that at all, but it absolutely has been such a blessing to be able to connect
mm,
on a whole nother level
yeah,
with so many people, and
yeah.
that is absolutely a blessing that I do not take for granted.
No, me neither. And I do not take for granted you spending time with us today. So thank you so
Thank
much.
you so
It's been
much.
really fun, as I knew it would be.
Allie, thank you for the invitation. Oh my goodness, the time just flew by.
Right? Yeah, a whole hour just flew by. I really do encourage you to check out Andrea's website, her Instagram, her YouTube, all of her classes. And we would love to have you join us for the final Bookmaker Collective class. I will be there. Obviously, Andrea will be teaching, and all the gals, Wendy, Dee Dee, Tiff, and Kristen will all be there making this book together. Take care, folks. Have a good week.